Hello, this is Natasha with Make Up Your Mind with Natasha LaFay. I hope you guys are doing well. We are going to have a conversation about lock count. I posted in my 2-month Sisterlocks update video that I counted my locks and that I was surprised by the number based on the number that my consultant told me when she completed my locks. Now, benefit of the doubt is we did work on my locks for 3 days. She had a couple of consultations in between, well, after she finished my locks, so she was doing a bunch of things, but the number she told me and the number that I got when I counted, completely different. So what I'm going to do, this is my pipe cleaner curls. I've had my hair in this style. Hopefully you guys will have seen both of my pipe cleaner curls videos where I put my hair in this faux hawk, and it has been like this for a week. So I'm going to take these out while I'm talking and see if I can actually recount my locks now. Now, a couple things is when I counted my locks initially, it was right before my second retightening. So some of my locks had slipped, and I do feel like my consultant added a couple of new locks in the front. So we shall see what the count is that we come up with today. And then while I'm doing this, I did get quite a few comments on my 2-month update video, what you guys think about sister lock or your lock count and how important it is, especially when it comes to sister locks. Now, obviously I have not been locked for that long. I'm coming up on the 3-month mark. Oh no, my nail is snagging my locks. Hold on one second. All right, I'm back. Listen, I will cut the whole nail off before I let you snag my locks. Okay, so a couple of you guys commented letting me know your thoughts on lock count. So in one thing, and listening to my consultant, she's like, stay away from the discussion groups on Sisterlocks because everyone has so many opinions on what they think about certain things, and to be completely honest, oftentimes it isn't the nicest thoughts or feedback. So well, let's take a look. So if you saw my two I don't know why I keep forgetting these words, pipe cleaner curl videos, you can see that when I first took the pipe cleaners out, these curls were super duper duper tight, so that's why I put it in the faux hawk for that time. So I'm just now taking it out, and you can see that the curls have fallen a little bit. Not looking too bad. Still have some curl in it, especially for it to have been a week since I put those pipe cleaners in my hair. Not bad. So we are going to, I am not going to make you guys sit here while I count all of my locks again. I'll read a comment because I want you guys to kind of get your own thoughts, ideas on lock count just based on feedback from others. Then I will come and let you guys know my final lock count and my thoughts. So first comment is from Selena Madorforo. Hopefully, I don't think I said that right, but Selena, thank you for your comment. She says she's been sister locked for about a month, and she has 520 locks. She said her hair was 9 to 10 inches with thick, high density. She said that she got Sisterlocks because they were tiny and neatly done, and she liked the grid pattern. She said, at the end of the day, as long as you're happy with whatever locks you have and how they look, that's all that matters. So for some people, I have heard if you don't have this many locks, then you do not have Sisterlocks. So even if your hair is done by a certified Sisterlocks consultant. If your hair has the grid that is patented by Sisterlocks, if your hair looks exactly like Sisterlocks, you don't have Sisterlocks if you don't have a certain lock count. So when Selena talks about her length and her density, the fact that not everyone has the same size head, not everyone has the same amounts of density, so some people's hair is thicker or thinner than others. For me personally, I didn't have a lot of hair on my edges, so that also takes into account your lock count. So thinking about that, I think there is a lot that goes into play when we're talking about why is lock count important, and how does your lock count disqualify you from having a style that you have researched, went to a certified person, and paid for. So let me divide my hair in sections, and I will be back and we'll go through this conversation a little bit more. Well, hello there. So I have broken my hair up into chunky sections because I don't want them in a million tiny sections, because I don't want to be doing this all day. So I am going to go through each section and count my locks. Last time I did this, I used a Excel spreadsheet. So I will do the same thing this time, and I will count each section twice for confirmation. Next comment is from Joy Oliver. She said her Sisterlocks are 3 years old and she didn't have time to count her locks until this pandemic. Sis, I understand. I don't think anyone had time to really sit down unless they were truly dedicated. So I'm glad you were able to have time to do that. She says that she has 406 Sisterlocks. She says, I don't think the count is She says, I don't think the count is as important as the actual grid and the rotation used to achieve the look you want. So again, someone else agreeing that the lock count is not as important as the grid and as the Sisterlock method used that has been patented and certified. So let me start counting these sections, and I will be back with an update as well as from another comment. Okay, I have the front row counted, and it is 133 locks. So based on that and seeing how much of my hair has still yet to be counted, what are your guesses? How many locks do you think I have? I have a comment from Miss Olivia. Oh, I am not gonna butcher your last name because I respect you too much, Queen. She says, I think the lock count is important depending on the person. She says, I want a high lock count because I have thick, high density hair. So I would not be happy with getting the standard size Sisterlocks because the locks would look too big for me. She says that she just needs to find a consultant who's willing to do smaller Sisterlocks. I think that's a good point. So Sisterlocks have a standardized grid, but there is range in the size of the locks. My consultant personally, when she asked me kind of who was my lock goals, like who, when your locks are fully mature, who do you want your locks to look like? So I showed her some pictures for her to get an understanding. I didn't want huge locks. I wanted them to be small. So she did take that into account when she was doing my locks to say, okay, in order to, there were certain specifications, obviously, in order to have the proper grid, but she did take into account if I wanted to be on the smaller range or the larger range of that Sisterlock spectrum. So thank you, Olivia. Oh, I do wish you luck in finding a consultant that can meet your needs. So 133 locks so far. I am going to continue counting, and drop your guesses down below. How many locks do you think I have in my head based on this front portion being 133 locks? I will keep counting and I'll be back in a second. I'm back. have one last row to go. This is a tiring process, child. Okay, next comment is from Crystal Sisterlocks. Hey girl, hey. She says she has 447 Sisterlocks. She says if they are less than 400, who cares? They are Sisterlocks if the Sisterlock method and grid was used. So again, grid, method, those are the most important things. Also, I have a comment from Chick 6194. Now I don't know if she has Sisterlocks or another type of locks. She says I have 231 locks and I don't think the count matters because everyone's hair is different. I have low density and fine hair, so this was as many as she can get. And she liked my red lips from the last video. So thank you, Chick 6194. And again, density, hair type, everyone's hair type is different. So everyone's count will likely be different. It'll be hard, and I know it's important that Sisterlocks is patented, and some people call those bougie locks because there are so many rules and so many thoughts and opinions about the standards. One second. There are so many rules and thoughts about the standards, but like I said, my head is not shaped like everybody else's head. My density is not the same as everyone else's density. So if you do have Sisterlocks, I think we need to get off of this. If you don't have this many number, then you don't have Sisterlocks. I think there's a lot that goes into it prior to making that determination. I am going to count this last row. I will be back with the final count. I have one final comment and then some final thoughts on, is Sisterlock count, or is lock count period, important? Give me 1 sec and I'll be back with you guys. This was a process. Okay, so I now have every lock accounted for. I realized halfway through that I'm channeling my Beyonce Black is King. So last comment, and then I'll give you guys my final lock count and my final thoughts. Comment from Monica. She's my friend, my sister. She has micro locks. She says I have around 333 locks. She says she hasn't counted in a while, but she needs to do it again. And she said, oh, you're gonna make us wait for the lock count. So yes, I did make you guys wait a couple videos for the lock count. Hopefully you guys dropped your guesses down below. Total locks, 369. So I have 369 locks upon my head. When I counted last time, I got 367 and 374. So 369 right in the middle, I'll take it. Initially when I got my establishment done, I told you guys that my consultant counted my locks, and she counted my locks, and then she had 2 consultations where she wanted me to sit so they can see my newly established locks kind of as motivation, like this is what they're going to look like, yada, yada, yada. So as I'm walking out the door after her consultations, I'm like, hey, what was the lock number that she got? And she was like, oh, I forgot, but I think it was somewhere between 400 and 425. So I left there thinking, okay, I have around 400, 425 locks. So when I counted my locks, I'm like, that's not the number. And I'm gonna be honest, I was like in my feelings like, well, I know I've heard people say that you have to have over 400 and there's a certain amount of locks that you have for them to be Sisterlocks and blah, 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 blah. So I go down this rabbit trail of digging and watching other people's videos on lock count and yada, yada, yada. It's so convoluted. And one thing, I love my Sisterlocks, but one thing is that the Sisterlocks website is not as up to date or functional. So there is no kind of black and white, this is what the expectations you should have, as far as I've been able to find on the website, as far as your grid is supposed to be like this, and this is the lock count that you're supposed to have, and blah, 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 blah. So based on kind of me settling into my feelings, reading your comments, I feel like all of you guys are right that we should not be harping so hard on how many locks do you have. I think it comes down to, did you pick someone who was actually certified in the Sisterlocks method? Did you really go through your consultation, asking all the questions that you need? Did you find someone that you felt comfortable with, that was honorable and reputable? Did your consultant explain to you kind of the process behind what is your hair type, what locking pattern were they going to use, why, as far as your grid and your layout and their guesstimation on your locks? I think there is a lot to take into consideration, like you guys have mentioned. The size of your head, your length, the density of your hair. So how thick is your hair? How many hair strands do you have per square inch that will be included in that lock? They have to make sure that the number of hair strands will be able to support your lock as it matures. So there is a lot that goes into account in how many locks end up on your head. For me, like I said at the beginning of the video, my edges, there's no hair there. I mean, it's starting to grow back, but I can't expect to have 400 plus locks if my entire head isn't covered with hair. I do have thinning hair, and locks will be added as my hair grows in. So I said all of those words to say, embrace your own personal journey. If you have sister locks, micro locks, traditional locks, freeform locks, and all those in between, your journey is your own. So as long as you love what is sitting on top of your head, as long as you are involved and you appreciate your journey, that is all that matters. So I have Sisterlocks. If you went to a Sisterlocks consultant and you decided to get Sisterlocks, you have Sisterlocks. So I think we need to get off of this. You don't have Sisterlocks if ... So I have 369 locks. I absolutely love my locks. I have truly embraced this lock journey, and hopefully if you have locks, you are embracing yours as well. If you are considering locks, hopefully you'll take something out of this video that you have to do, obviously, your due diligence, but if you've done your work on the front end and you feel comfortable, whatever the outcome is, as long as you're happy with it, that is all that matters. So I love you. If you have not heard it today, I love you. Make up your mind to let your beauty shine from the inside out, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.